My stepfather pushed my adopted son away from the main table at my sister's wedding and said, "That seat is for real family. Staff kids don't belong here. Get out." My boy almost fell. 15 relatives watched. Some laughed. No one stopped him. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I said 5 calm words. My sister froze. My mother dropped her fork. My stepfather went pale. 2 weeks later, a certified letter arrived for him, and his hands were shaking while reading it. My name is Marissa Cole. I'm 35, a single mother, and a trauma nurse. And this is the story of the day my son was treated like a charity case and the price they paid for it. If you're watching, subscribe, but only if the story earns it. And tell me your city in the comments. I read them all. Now, let me take you back 2 weeks before that wedding. Because humiliation never starts on the big day. It starts in small moments people pretend not to see. My stepfather, Richard, liked order, titles, labels, bloodlines. He used those words a lot. Real family, real name, real legacy. He said them like they were rules of nature. My son Leo was 9 when Richard first called him a borrowed child. Not to his face, to me in the kitchen. "He's lucky you took him in," Richard said while reading the newspaper, "but don't confuse kindness with inheritance." I remember the sound of the sink running while I stood there holding a plate I forgot to dry. "He's my son," I answered. Richard didn't look up. "He's your burden. That's different." I learned something that day. Some people don't raise their voice when they mean something cruel. They lower it. My mother hurt him. She always hurt him. She never corrected him. She just changed the subject like she was moving a rug over broken glass. At family events, Leo noticed things before I did. Where chairs were placed, who got introduced first, which photos he was not called into. Kids don't miss patterns. Adults just pretend they do. One Sunday dinner, Leo whispered, "Mom, why do they call me Buddy but call Emma Princess?" Emma was my sister's biological daughter. I smiled and said, "Different nicknames, that's all." It wasn't all. But I wasn't ready yet. Because timing matters when truth needs witnesses. The wedding invitation came printed in gold letters. My sister Claire wanted everything perfect. Perfect flowers, perfect seating, perfect photos. She sent seating charts 3 times. Our names moved every version. Table 6, Table 9, then Overflow Family. I noticed. I said nothing. 2 days before the wedding, Richard called me. "Just a reminder," he said, "don't make things complicated at the event." I asked, "What does that mean?" "It means," he said slowly, "know where people belong." Click. No explanation, no need. The message was clear. That night, Leo tried on his suit in the mirror. He looked proud, taller than usual. He practiced shaking hands like he'd seen in movies. "Do I look like I belong?" he asked. The question hit deeper than he knew. "Yes," I said, "exactly where you're meant to be." And I meant it. Just not in the way anyone at that wedding expected. Because 3 months earlier, without telling anyone, I had signed papers that changed more than our address, more than our last name, more than our future. But documents don't speak when they're signed. They speak when they're delivered. And that delivery date was already scheduled. I checked my email that night. The confirmation was still there. Stamped, filed, active. I closed my phone and turned off the light. Because some answers don't get announced. They arrive. And when they do, they don't knock softly. The wedding morning came bright and loud. Sun through the curtains, phone notifications, family group chat exploding with photos of flowers and makeup and matching robes. I muted it. Leo was eating cereal and reading the back of the box like it was important news. "Big day," he said. "Big show," I replied. He grinned. Same thing. I dressed slower than usual. Not nervous, just precise. When you know something is already in motion, you stop rushing. You let the clock come to you. My mother called while I was putting on my earrings. "Please," she said before hello, "let today be smooth." "It will be," I answered. "That means no reactions. Your stepfather is under stress." "Weddings are stressful," I said. "That's not what I meant." I knew it wasn't. Leo wore the navy suit we bought together. He checked the mirror twice, fixed his collar 3 times. Kids prepare hardest for rooms they're not sure will accept them. "You ready?" I asked. "Yep," he said, then quieter, "if they are." We drove in silence after that. The venue was a converted vineyard estate, stone archways, white chairs, too many ribbons, the kind of place built for photos, not truth. At the entrance, a coordinator checked names. She smiled at me, then checked again. "Oh," she said, adjusting her clipboard. "You're here. Not welcome, not expected, just present." Inside, relatives grouped like territories. My sister's side near the front, Richard in the center of everything like a manager of oxygen. He saw us. His smile paused half a second too long. "Marissa," he said, shaking my hand instead of hugging me, "you made it." "We were invited," I replied. His eyes dropped to Leo. "That's formal," he said. Leo said thank you, like I taught him. Respect given, not returned. We were directed to our seats for the ceremony, last row, far right, not together with immediate family, not even with cousins. Leo noticed. "It's okay," he whispered to me. "I can see from here." That's what kids say when they're already adjusting downward. After the ceremony came the photos, group shots stacked by relation priority. That was the photographer's phrase, not mine. Immediate family first. Leo stepped forward with me. Richard touched his shoulder lightly and steered him back without looking at him. Later, we'll do extended after. Extended, like a warranty category. Leo stepped back without a sound. I said nothing, because witnesses matter more than interruptions. At the reception hall, the seating board stood near the door. Gold frame, printed cards. I already knew what it would say. Still, I walked Leo over to it. Table 14. Not family section, not friends section, vendor overflow row, next to the DJ crew and lighting staff. Leo read it, didn't react, just nodded once like he was confirming weather. Cool, close to the speakers. Strength in children is often misdiagnosed as not understanding. Across the room, I saw Richard watching us read it, waiting for a reaction. I gave him none. We sat where the card told us to sit, because sometimes the trap only works if you step exactly where they expect you to. Leo swung his legs under the chair and looked around. "Mom?" asked Leo softly. "Is this the right table?" I looked at the number again. "Yes," I said calmly. "It's the one they chose." And across the hall, Richard finally relaxed, which told me something important. He believed the story was under his control. People like Richard always relax too early. They think control comes from volume, from position, from where they stand in the room. They forget control also lives on paper, and paper doesn't argue back. It waits. The reception filled fast after that. Music up, glasses clinking, servers moving in straight lines like choreography. Claire, my sister, floated from table to table like a queen doing inspection rounds. She hugged people with cameras near and waved at people without them. She didn't come to table 14. Leo watched the dance floor lights turning slowly across the ceiling. "Do you think they forgot us?" he asked. "No," I said gently. "They remembered exactly where they put us." He accepted that answer too quickly. That hurt more than if he'd argued. A cousin stopped by our table, Mark, the neutral one in every conflict. "Hey," he said quietly, "there was some confusion with the seating." "There wasn't," I replied. He gave a tight smile. "Yeah, I figured." He left just as fast. Neutral people never stay long near discomfort. It stains their shirts. Dinner started. Plates came. Ours came last. Not by accident, by flow priority. I've worked enough hospital banquets to know the pattern. Across the hall, Richard stood to give a speech. He loved microphones, loved the sound of his own pauses. "To family," he began, lifting his glass, "the people who carry your name forward." He scanned the room while saying it. Skipped our table completely. Applause followed like trained rain. Leo kept eating, slow, careful, adult-level composure in a child's hands. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah, I'm pretending this is a spy mission." "What's the mission?" "Act normal behind enemy lines." I almost laughed and almost cried at the same time. Then came the moment that weddings always build toward, the formal seating shift near the couples table. Extra chairs added, family rotated forward for photos and symbolic toasts. A coordinator approached with a tablet. "Immediate family adjustment," she announced. Richard started pointing. Add one here, remove that one, move those two. His finger landed toward Leo's chair. Not that seat, that's for real family. The coordinator hesitated. Sir, the chart... I approved the correction. He cut in. Correction. That word again. Leo looked at me, not scared, just checking instructions. I put my napkin down slowly, because moments like this don't explode, they narrow. Richard stepped closer and touched the back of Leo's chair. Up, he said. Staff kids sit with staff families. 3 tables turned to watch, then 6, then almost the whole front section. Leo stood too fast. The chair leg caught the carpet edge and tilted. He stumbled sideways and hit the floor on his hands. Gasps. One laugh. Someone whispered, "Oh my God," like gossip, not concern. No one helped him up. Not yet. Richard shook his head like he was correcting furniture placement. Order matters, he said. That was when the room expected my reaction. Anger, shouting, drama, proof he was right about me. I gave them none of it. I helped Leo stand, brushed his sleeve, checked his hands, no injury, just shock. Then I looked at Richard, and I said 5 calm words. Not loud, not emotional, precise. The sound in the room changed shape. My sister stopped mid-step. My mother's fork slipped from her fingers. Richard's expression drained, slowly, like someone pulled a plug behind his eyes. He didn't answer me, because he understood exactly what those 5 words meant, even though no one else did. Not yet. Richard didn't respond right away. That alone was strange. He always responded, quickly, loudly, with authority. Silence wasn't his habit. It was his warning sign. What words? My sister Claire asked, stepping closer. What did she say? Richard waved her off too fast. Nothing. She's upset, that's all. I wasn't upset. I was steady. There's a difference, and he could see it. Leo held my hand tighter than before, not shaking, anchoring, like he wanted to make sure I didn't disappear from the moment. The coordinator quietly moved the chair back into place and walked away without another word. Staff learned survival through invisibility. Dinner resumed, but not really. Conversations came back wrong, like music playing half a beat off. People kept glancing over, watching Richard instead of me, because power had shifted, and they felt it without understanding why. My mother approached our table 10 minutes later. She didn't sit. Marissa, she said carefully, let's not turn this into something bigger than it is. It already is bigger, I answered. You know how your stepfather talks. Yes, I said. Today, he made sure everyone else knows, too. She pressed her lips tight. That was her version of panic. You shouldn't have said that to him, she whispered. Then he shouldn't have done that to Leo. Her eyes flicked to my son, then away, like guilt had weight. What did you mean, she asked quietly, by those 5 words? Exactly what I said. That's not an answer. It is, just not one you've opened yet. She stared at me for 2 full seconds, then stepped back like distance might protect her. Across the room, Richard was on his phone, not scrolling, typing. Fast. That mattered. Angry men make calls. Careful men send messages. Claire took the microphone again to restart the mood. Wedding recovery mode. Forced laughter, scheduled joy. Let's reset the energy, she said brightly. Dessert and dancing. People obey celebration when it's offered loudly enough. Leo leaned toward me. Are we in trouble? He asked softly. No, I said. We're on schedule. He blinked. For what? You'll see. I checked my watch. Not nervously, confirming, because timing only works when you respect it. Richard didn't come near us again that night, not once, not even by accident. He stayed across invisible borders like the floor between us had turned electric. When we finally stood to leave, Mark, the neutral cousin, intercepted me near the exit. What did you say to him? He asked under his breath. 5 words, I answered. Yeah, but what words? You'll hear them soon enough. He studied my face, then nodded once. Okay, he said. That's new. What is? You're not trying to be accepted anymore. No, I said. I'm not. Outside, the night air felt cleaner than the ballroom oxygen. Leo climbed into the car and buckled himself in without being asked. That's how I knew the day had been heavy for him. Quiet kids move efficiently. My phone buzzed before I started the engine. Unknown number. different from before. I answered. A woman's voice this time, professional, confirming. Delivery window moved up. Signature required in person. When? I asked. 72 hours. Good, I replied. You sound prepared. I am. I ended the call. Leo looked over. Everything okay? Yes, I said. More than okay. Because the wedding humiliation was never the event. It was the trigger. And the real response was already in transit. The next morning was quiet. Too quiet. No angry calls, no family messages, no group chat debates. After a public scene, silence is never peace. It's repositioning. Leo ate pancakes and built a tower from blueberries. Kids returned to normal faster than adults. That's their mercy. Are you going back there soon? He asked. Where? The big table place. No, I said. They already showed us the seats they wanted. He thought about that and nodded. He understands fairness better than most grown people. At noon, Richard finally called. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times, then answered. His voice was controlled but tight around the edges. We need to talk. We're talking. Not on the phone. This is where you reached me. A pause. What you said last night was inappropriate. What you did last night was public. You're escalating a family misunderstanding. No, I said calmly. I'm documenting a decision. Another pause. Longer. I think you're being influenced, he said. Someone is putting ideas in your head. No, I replied. Someone put words in yours, loudly. His tone hardened. Be careful, Marissa. I am, I said, and ended the call. Threats sound powerful only when you don't know your footing. Mine was measured already. That afternoon, a car I didn't recognize parked across from our house and stayed there longer than a delivery stop should. Not suspicious, just observant. At 3:12 p.m., it moved. At 3:19 p.m., the doorbell rang. Timing matters. Leo looked at me from the couch. Are you expecting someone? Yes. Friend or problem? Paperwork, I said. He accepted that as a category. The courier wore a gray jacket and a body cam, signature tablet, ID badge displayed forward, trained, procedural, exact. Marissa Cole? He asked. Yes. Restricted delivery, named recipient only. That's me. He scanned my ID, captured my signature, and handed over a rigid document envelope with red strip seals across the flap. Weighty. Not thick, but heavy. Official paper always feels heavier than it looks. Leo watched with wide eyes. Is that from the government? Worse, I said gently. From lawyers. He smiled. That is worse. Inside were certified copies, authority confirmations, custodial language, asset protections, enforcement triggers, all stamped, all active, all dated months earlier. Not new power, activated power. My phone buzzed before I finished the second page. Daniel Reeves again. Confirmed delivered? Yes. Good. Do not email copies, do not photograph pages, physical chain only. Understood. Has he contacted you yet? Yes. Tone? Careful with teeth. He almost laughed. That means he checked something and didn't like what he found. What happens next? I asked. Next, he tries friendly. And after friendly? Then he tries urgent. I closed the folder. And after urgent? His answer came without delay. Then he realizes it's not his anymore. The call ended. Leo was drawing again, this time a long table with many chairs. But he drew one chair at the head larger than the others. Who sits there? I asked. The rule maker, he said. I looked at the sealed documents on the table. Not for long, I answered quietly. Because by now, Richard had received his copy too. Same seals, same stamps, same authority language. And somewhere across town, an envelope was being opened by hands that were no longer steady. Richard called that evening. Not careful this time, not controlled. Fast. Where are you? He asked. At home. I'm coming over. No, I said. You're not. You don't get to block this conversation. I already did. His breathing was louder now. You filed behind my back? Yes. You brought lawyers into this? Yes. You think paper outranks family? No, I said calmly. Paper outranks volume. Silence hit hard. You blindsided me, he said. No, I replied. I prepared before you pushed. He hung up. Not victory, retreat. 2 hours later, my mother called, crying. What did you send him? She asked. Nothing, I said. He was notified. He says you froze everything. I protected what wasn't his. He's your stepfather. He humiliated my son. Truth shortens arguments. The next week moved fast. Meetings he tried to schedule were canceled, account requests were denied, access attempts were blocked automatically. Authority isn't loud when it's real. It just works. He tried friendly, like predicted. Coffee invite, reset talk, ignored. Then urgent. We must fix this today. Declined. Then pressure. This will damage the family. Saved to folder. Because now every message had a record. He finally showed up at the hospital lobby, waiting near security like proximity still meant control. I met him there in uniform. He looked smaller outside family rooms. You went too far, he said. No, I answered. You went too public. It was just a seating issue. It was a values issue. He's not blood. He's my son. Richard exhaled sharply. You think this makes him equal? No, I said. It makes him protected. That word landed. Protected. Years before I adopted Leo, a hospital mistake during his early treatment led to a legal settlement set aside for his future. The court placed that money in a protected trust under strict rules. It was meant to stay untouched until he becomes an adult. Recently, Richard had been trying to merge family properties and accounts into one control structure, and that trust was connected to the asset group he wanted to move. He thought it was paperwork he could redirect. He was wrong. 3 months before the wedding, I finalized the documents naming me the only legal guardian trustee over Leo's protected funds, which meant something very simple. He couldn't touch it. He couldn't move it. He couldn't sign around it. Not without me. You planned this, he said quietly. Yes. You chose him over family. I held his gaze. I chose my son over permission. He had no reply left. That night, Leo and I ate takeout on the living room floor. No seating charts, no labels, no sections. Are we in trouble anymore? He asked. No. Did we win? This wasn't about winning. What was it about? I smiled. Choosing the table. He liked that answer. So did I. Because some people guard chairs, and some people build rooms. And no one, ever again, would tell my son where he was less.